We're back then with another video for Outriders now. In the previous video we had a look at the Trickster class and we checked out some abilities for them that aren't actually available in the demo, and we had a look at 2 legendary sets as well. Now we'll now be doing that for the Devastator class, possibly my favourite class in the demo, but they all do play really good. So for the Devastator, I've managed to find gameplay footage of 3 additional skills which you don't have access to in the demo, and again we've got access to 2 different legendary sets that we can check out for them. One of the legendary sets is absolutely amazing. It's going to be a ton of fun to play in game, and it's based around a new skill that we've not actually seen yet. Now before we do go in and break it all down, if you're enjoying the content on the channel, take the time to hit the like, share and subscribe button, and let's now jump in and we'll have a look at the skills first. So the Devastator, like the other classes available within the main game, will have access to 8 different skills. Of course, only 4 of them are available in the demo. The 4 that are available in the demo, they are Earthquake, Golem, Gravity Leap and Reflect Bullets. Now, via the in-game accolades, we can actually find out the name and a little bit of information on the other skills as well. So they are Impale, Tremor, Boulder Dash and Endless Mass, and we do have gameplay of 3 of them. Now, before we go in and we check out the new gameplay, I'm very quickly going to show off gameplay for the 4 skills that are available in the demo for anyone that's perhaps not played the demo. The first skill we have here then is Earthquake. So with this one, you release a shockwave, it deals damage and it will interrupt enemies in front of you as well. We have Golem up next, a pretty amazing defensive ability. When you activate this, you fortify yourself against 65% of incoming damage for 8 seconds. There's actually a legendary shotgun in the game as well that when you defeat an enemy, it will give you 3 seconds of this buff, which is really pretty amazing. And I've actually got some footage of that to show off later on. The next ability we have here is Gravity Leap. So with this one, leap into the air and strike your targets from above. You'll deal damage and you interrupt enemies within a small radius of the area you land in. The final ability from the demo before we move into the brand new ones that you all want to see is Reflect Bullets. Absolutely amazing ability, and you can make some pretty broken builds with it, but this creates a barrier, captures all enemy projectiles and accumulates damage. After 12 seconds of triggering the skill, the accumulated damage is reflected back to enemies in front of you, and as mentioned, this is a pretty amazing ability. I'll probably do a build video on it later on. But let's check out these new abilities. The first ability we'll look at here then is Impale. So if we think back to the accolades I showed off a moment ago, the description for this was simply just kill a set amount of enemies when using this. So initially when I seen it I thought it might be a crowd control skill, but from what I know, that if you actually use it on an elite for example and it wouldn't defeat them, it will just do damage to them, it won't raise them up in the air. It's only when you defeat an enemy it actually does this, and you can get modifiers so you can have more spikes coming out of the ground as well. The next ability we have here is Boulder Dash. Now this one I had to capture the gameplay footage from Twitter. It's the only place I could actually find it, so the quality won't be too great. The video in question is all about a legendary set, which we're going to look at later on in the video, that reduces the cooldown of Boulder Dash by a whopping 90%, which is absolutely incredible. So if you're wanting to get up close and get in enemies' faces and smash them, as you can see you're doing in this particular trailer, then that will be the set to run. But I'll let this quickly finish off just so you can see it run through a few times here. The final ability that we have gameplay footage for then is called Endless Mass. This is a crowd control skill, and that actually makes sense. When you have tank style characters in games, they either tank through damage mitigation or they can tank via methods of crowd control as well. So with this you summon a monolith and it will pull all the characters together. So there's a ton of heroes that actually have effects such as the one you just seen there a second ago on screen that would actually work really nice in combination with this. So pretty awesome ability, this one. Now, just before we move on to the legendary sets, there is one final ability we don't have any gameplay for at all, but it is called Tremors. From the accolades we could see it was all based around dealing hits with this rather than kills, so how this will work I'm not quite sure. If it maybe be a pulse of energy that comes off you and interrupts targets, I'm getting that from the fact it says hits rather than kills, but let me know how you think this skill may actually work from the image we've got here in the comments below. But let's now jump in and we'll have a look at the legendary sets that have been shown off for the Devastator. First set we look at then is the Seismic Commander Set. We have access to 2 pieces of armour for it, and the shotgun he's wielding, we actually see the tooltip for that as well. Does drop within the demo, but it's pretty hard to get. Now, looking at this first, we've got the legendary headgear. So the first mod on this is Ultimate Impaler. That's the skill we looked at earlier on when the spikes come out of the ground. So with this, the skill can be activated 2 more times before triggering the cooldown. That's actually pretty awesome. A lot of these, it's just 1 time, but that's 2. And then you have Blood Shock. So this one, it will modify Earthquake, so that will inflict bleed on enemies affected by the skill. We then have the Commander's Armour. So mod wise on this, it's got Palisade, if that's how I say that, and that would buff Impale like the previous skill. So with this, the skill can strike 2 additional targets. So if you're using those 2 pieces of gear, you're not only been able to use it 3 times, but you can strike 2 additional targets with it as well. And then we have Earth's Legacy. So this will buff Earthquake once again. It increases the skill's range by a whopping 60%. Now, one thing I should have mentioned a moment ago is you've got your set bonus as well, which is really important. Now, with your set bonus, you can have 5 pieces of gear. You only need to equip 3 to get the set bonus, which is absolutely awesome. Opens 2 other slots. It means, of course, you've not got enough to have 2 set bonuses running side by side, but you can have 1 set bonus and then a nice amount of variety in there as well. But the set bonus for this one, it increases the damage towards enemies with bleed by 150%. And again, we had an Earthquake skill earlier on that would actually cause bleed, so that will work great together. Now, let's have a look at this awesome looking shotgun. So this legendary shotgun not only looks amazing, but the mods on it are pretty awesome as well. I've been trying to farm it in the demo, but I've not had a drop just yet. But the first mod here is called Golem Rise, and this is old gameplay footage, and I'm pretty sure in game the effect lasts for 3 seconds at the moment rather than 5. But with this, killing an enemy grants you a protective golem effect for 5 seconds. So that golem skill was the one that gave you 65% damage reduction, so this is just absolutely amazing. We've then got Vampire. So this one here, killing shots grant 15% skill leech boost for 15 seconds, so it's making you even more of a tank. So let's now have a look at the next legendary set, and this is the one tied in with the Boulder Dash skill, and we have all 5 pieces of this to show off. So this next set then is the Deathproof set. We're looking at the mask first. So with this, it's got Primal Weakness. It will buff Boulder Dash, so permanently reduces resistance of all damaged enemies by 50%. That's actually really strong, in fact, especially if you use that on a boss, for example, if it is permanent. You've then got Primal Chain Gun. So once again, it will buff Boulder Dash. Every enemy damaged by the skill increases your weapon damage by 20% for 5 seconds. Stacks up to 5 times as well. Wow, what a piece of gear. The actual set bonus, as we've mentioned, it reduces the cooldown of Boulder Dash by 90%, so you can just spam it, so you can just run about and smash into everything. Absolutely amazing. We have the armour up next here. So this particular one, increased durations, the first mod. So with Reflect Bullets, it increases the skill's duration by 40%. I'm pretty sure at the moment it is actually 10 seconds, so of course that would be 14 seconds, which is actually pretty long. And then you've got Primal Armour, so it'll buff Boulder Dash, and this will double your armour when the skill ends for 10 seconds. That's actually pretty huge as well, given how much armour the Devastator class will have. We have the lower armour up next. The first mod is called Not Impressed. It reduces the damage taken from elites by 20%, so that's pretty fun. And then Auto Reflect. This is the one that makes the Reflect skill absolutely incredible. So with this, you can now fight while the skill is active, but you cannot manually deactivate the skill. It only negates 50% of damage. As mentioned, I'll maybe do a build video on that later on, because as it stands, as long as it's not nerfed, it's just such an amazing ability. The next item we have here is the foot gear. So the first mod we look at, Life of the Party. Incoming damage is reduced by 5% for each enemy in close range. Stacks up to 8 times as well, so that's a 40% damage reduction. I wonder if that will actually stack with your Golem skill, then would that mean you get 100% damage reduction potentially with it? We'll need to find out. Now, next up for the mod, you have Primal Constitution. Each enemy you damage increases your maximum health. This instance it's 307 for 10 seconds, and that stacks up to 5 times as well. Final item we have is the gauntlets. The first mod we look at, Kingslayer. So critical hits on an elite increase your firepower for 8 seconds, and then we have bullet acceleration. So with this, reflect bullets increases the damage of reflected bullets. In this instance it's by 77 there. So that's all the additional skills I was able to find information on, and the 2 legendary sets for the Devastator. They look pretty amazing. I'm getting more and more excited for the game as the days go on when I'm actually doing these videos. Now I've got 2 more to do. I've already done the Trickster, so I've got the Pyromancer and the Technomancer still to do, so let me actually know in the comments below which one you would like to see, and I'll look to work on that next. But let me know as well what you think of what we've seen about the Devastator, and thanks for tuning in. Stay safe and I'll see you all again soon.